Hi guys, it's good to see you again. It's been a minute. Sorry about that. So today, you're gonna watch some footage that I took when I was at my caving class last week. So all of this will take place in or around Mammoth Cave. That is a national park in southwestern Kentucky, just north of Bowling Green, and it is the world's longest cave. They have found over 400 miles of cave that are all connected. Not all in one tube, of course. It's several smaller, I guess not smaller, but it includes the large caves, small caves, things like that. So, this class was put on through my university, but we had people from 2 different countries and all over the United States who came to be part of this class. There were only 11 of us, plus a TA and an instructor. And we started on Monday by hiking around, as you can see in this video, and exploring some of the surface characteristics within Mammoth Cave National Park and outside of it. We were looking at things like sinkholes, karst windows, streams that come up from these caves. And this hike took us down to one of those karst windows. And it was a pretty rough hike. I think it was 3 miles total. It was not a down and back either, it was a loop. But yeah. A karst window, for those who don't know, is basically where a section of tunnel that has a river in it has collapsed. Or I guess I shouldn't say tunnel, but cave, passage, has collapsed. And the sides are still there, the bottom's still there, and now the water source has come above the collapse. So there's still water that runs through it or over it, but it's not like it used to be. I don't think you can see it in this video, but it is definitely very neat. And if you've not been to the national park yet, I do highly recommend it. I'm pretty sure it's also like a international biosphere site, so there's a lot of research that goes on at this cave. But I just thought the forest was so pretty, I had to take a video of it while we were walking. And if you're wondering why I'm doing a voiceover, it is because every video in this compilation is just me heavy breathing because it was so hot. So this is a creek, or kind of a creek, it's actually a flow coming out of the ground. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think they know which cave it comes from, but it just comes from those rocks over there. And it actually flows for quite a while. This was Monday night. We had actually come out of Mammoth Cave. We went down into it after the last tour, so pretty late in the day, and then we came up at about 10:30. And the cave is naturally 54 degrees Fahrenheit year-round, but it was so hot and muggy, it created this fog right where the two temperatures were clashing. It was really neat. So this and the next few clips are just gonna be like me walking through these tunnels. So all of this and the next couple clips were filmed in the same cave, I think. A lot of these videos I just took because I wanted to freak out my mother. I think I did a good job of that. She's claustrophobic. She doesn't like bugs. She doesn't like dust. And she does not like dark. And caves are quite literally some of the darkest places on the planet. Your eyes will never adjust to the darkness of a cave. So we all had headlamps. We all had flashlights. And we would trek single file down some of these tighter tunnels or in a group down some bigger tunnels. I am blocking out faces just out of courtesy. So where the last clip stopped, this one begins, and it's just this very steep slope, and we were told don't touch those handrails because they were over 100 years old and there was mold growing on them, and we don't know what that mold would do. We didn't want to risk it either, but it led down to this canyon that water had carved out over hundreds of years. We were talking about the carvings on the wall that were cut out by the water. They're called scallops when they're kind of like bowl or like dish shaped. That is where water lapped at the edges. This is a different cave. This entire tunnel, I think the next couple clips too, are taken in this tunnel that is entirely gypsum covered. If you don't know what gypsum is, it is a very sparkly mineral, but it takes a long, long, long time to grow. So we were told not to touch it because just the oils from our skin could prohibit growth, slow down, and basically stop the growth. Now it's much shinier in person, but you can kind of see it on camera. You can kind of catch the sparkles along the edges of the camera there, of the screen. My light was pretty low compared to other people's, but I preferred it that way, and I typically kept it angled down so I could see where I was stepping, and that way it wasn't shining in people's faces. But all of these walls are sparkly with gypsum. It's like walking down like a tunnel of diamonds. Gypsum is actually a main component in drywall, so if you live in a home or in a building with drywall, which you most likely do, that is gypsum. So gypsum grows from limestone, and it needs very dry locations. I looked back down the tunnel because I was at the beginning of the group and no one else was behind me, and I was kind of confused. I was like, where'd they go? But this tunnel had been dug out by an explorer named Floyd Collins and his family. It had been carved already by water, and then it filled up with sediment like mud and clay, and they dug it out back in the early 1900s, so over 100 years ago. But yeah, the entire ceiling and everything is gypsum, and that's kind of that rough texture. I apologize for the vertical. Oh, but there's the bat. I did see multiple bats. If you don't know, bats are my favorite animal. I was going to torn between going into geology and going into bat biology, but the geology won out because there are bats in geology, as you can see. So yeah, he was just one stray one, and it's odd to see them down there, so hopefully the little guy gets out, because we were quite far down there. Usually bats just stick to openings. More gypsum, very interesting gypsum growths. Gypsum can do some crazy things. But yeah, if you're interested, I would recommend Googling Floyd Collins and learning about him. Oh, and here's a good one. People had come in to steal and sell some pieces of gypsum, so they were right. There were still prices written on them, but they were returned to the cave after the legal stuff. They're just pieces of very solid gypsum, not the flakes that you see on the ceiling. Here's another bat. This one is a big-eared bat. You can tell because of the way he's moving his head to listen. And that was a cave spider or a cave cricket right up next to it. This is just a really cool formation. Looked like, water was running down it. And this was a very active cave. This is a different cave from the last place. And this is an entirely different cave. this one they don't even let the public into, and it is being studied for research purposes. But the way the water carved it out just was beautiful to me. It was like walking on a different planet. It was so interesting. And more gypsum, forming an almost popcorn ceiling. And it was pretty low. I'm 5'3", and it was only just above my head. And then, like, we started to kind of go down, so I got more distance between my head and it. But that's what I wanted to share. I can share more if you'd like, in a different video, just a chatting video. But I hope you have a good day. Leave a comment as usual. Thank you so much for 140 subscribers. That's insane, especially since I haven't even posted recently. And I'll see you all next time.